Albinism occurs when one or more genetic defects make the body incapable of producing or distributing melanin. Although, reading an ALBA document, it cites that sometimes a lack of skin pigmentation may or may not occur, but it always does. They have visual problems. Melanin is a substance that gives color to hair, skin, and the iris of the eyes. A set of inherited disorders characterized by producing little or no melanin usually have pale skin, eye diseases, and sensitivity to light, lighter skin and hair than usual, patches of colorless skin, sensitivity to light, nystagmus, which is rapid or uncontrolled movements of the eyes which can be horizontal or vertical, although they frequently appear horizontally. Photophobia. It bothers them direct light, which may or may not be from the sun and are easily dazzled. Vision problems or functional blindness, which may or may not be from the sun and are easily dazzled. Vision problems or functional blindness. Approximately one case every 17,000 people suffer from it in the Western world, but in Africa there is one case every 1,400 on average. Although in most countries they coexist normally, it happens that in Africa, in the different countries of the continent, the situation becomes somewhat dangerous for the lives of those who suffer from albinism. Persecution, kidnappings, dismemberments, mutilations, even murder to saw limbs, internal organs, genitals, bones, scalp, and even skin. In addition, to obtain bodies, grave desecration are usually committed. And although in other older times it was believed that the birth of an albino baby was a sign of a curse, punishment for the family, or bad luck, this caused the creatures to disappear without much explanation. It was also said that an African woman had sexual relations with a white man, or that it was some kind of evil spirit or ghostly entity. Apparently, with the passage of the time, witch doctors and or healers would have begun to perform spells, but spells with human parts because they considered them magical beings, with the consequent sale of these amulets. So they promoted the idea that having something from an albino brings luck, wealth, good fortune in business, health and happiness. But apparently, with the passage of the time, witch doctors and or healers would have begun to perform spells, but spells with human parts because they considered them magical beings, with the consequent sale of these amulets. So they promoted the idea that having something from an albino brings luck, wealth, good fortune in business, health and happiness. Newspaper reports say that a single albino bone could be worth about €1,000 in 2018, and according to the United Nations, a complete set, this refers to a body of a person, can reach 60,000. With one albino person for every 2,000 inhabitants in the territory of Tanzania, let's say that the hunting ground was very easy for criminal gangs willing to do anything. And these criminals look for young people so they can carry out their perverse practices with as little effort as possible. That is why albino children must remain in their homes and protected by adults, often causing them to stop going to school and be almost locked up, imprisoned, and their mothers, in most cases, live terrified of gun attacks or from people. Many fathers decide to leave home due to the ridicule this means for their masculinity, especially when they have a second albino child. Let's add that many women are victims of sexual assault because the stupid idea has spread that having relation with them can cure AIDS. We are talking about a continent in which there is a high rate of contagion. Again, ignorance and the lack of commitment of governments in education for all people wreak havoc on people's lives. But perhaps the biggest enemy is the sun that hits these lands and makes them harsher with its rays. Since there is no melanin to protect their skin and they have to do work in open field, it is usually common for them to develop some type of skin cancer, which is why many, if not most of the time, die before the age of 40. In Tanzania, almost no one uses sunscreen creams because their price is high for the majority of the albino population who are classified as poor. Let's say that the wonderful market that some people offer us as the solution for life. When there is no money, neither the health nor the well-being of the people matters. There is no money? Okay, it's not my problem. I'm not here to do charity or earn little. Blessed market, right? But the states also do their thing. In Mozambique, in 2017, they received a shipment of sun creams at the Maputo airport and detained it for several months because although it was exempt from import duties, the tax agency wanted to receive a payment of 80% of the value of the merchandising in Europe. Lately, with the persecution and imprisonment of these gangs and their witch leaders, and the prohibition of practicing ritual medicine, governments try to stop this madness, but the temptation to improve or obtain positive results is so great that even politicians in search of electoral success are often involved.